The attorney, a man named Adrian Cole, with a smile as precise as a scalpel, began. The facts are undeniable. Lila Marston, he continued, was a woman of impulsive tendencies. She lacked stable employment, financial discipline, and possessed a history that could only be described as erratic. Entrusting her with the vast holdings left by the late Elias Marston would be catastrophic. We request a full conservatorship. My clients, her parents, seek only to protect her from herself. I didn't flinch. I didn't cry. I simply watched dust motes float in a beam of sunlight, aware that by the end of this session, the life they believed they controlled would unravel. My parents, Victor and Celine Marston, were the epitome of refined social prestige. To the world, they were philanthropists. To me, they were architects of a polished, suffocating cage. Growing up, I wasn't their daughter. I was a project. When I failed to meet their expectations of the perfect socialite, they shifted to systematic erasure. At 20, they cut me off. Certain hunger would drive me back. But I had my grandfather, Elias. He was the eccentric genius of the family, a tech innovator who retreated to a cabin while my parents squandered his wealth on galas and yachts. Elias taught me two crucial things: how to code and how to wait. A week before his death, he whispered, "They think money rules everything. It doesn't. Access does. I'm leaving you the keys. Only use them when they try to force the door open." When Elias passed, he left me everything. My parents were enraged. They had anticipated a windfall to cover debts hidden beneath designer labels and lease jets. When the will revealed that I alone inherited the Marston legacy, the battle began. For 6 months, they monitored my every move. They saw me in coffee shops, hoodies concealing ambition, and assumed I was a struggling freelancer. They saw a modest apartment and a used car, and concluded I was scraping by. They didn't see the lines of code. They didn't see the acquisitions. They didn't see the ghost I was becoming within their empire. They filed suit, claiming I was mentally incompetent and financially irresponsible. They wanted control of my accounts, my apartment, even my car, a captive income source for their lives. Exhibit A, Adrian Cole said, clicking a remote. A photograph appeared. Me 3 months ago, sitting on a park bench, sharing a sandwich with a man who looked homeless. Here we see Ms. Marston consorting with vagrants, handing over her grandfather's money to those who will squander it. She has no concept of the value of currency. My mother let out a staged sob into a silk handkerchief. My father's eyes pleaded with the judge. She has no office, Cole continued. No staff. She wanders libraries and parks, living off a dead man's fortune. Bank records show large, unexplained withdrawals. We suspect either extortion or wasteful indulgence. Judge Emerson, with 30 years on the bench, leaned forward. He looked at me with a blend of pity and irritation. Ms. Marston, do you wish to speak before I review the final asset schedule? I rose slowly, dressed in a simple black turtleneck and trousers, not the designer attire my mother had expected. I have no defense, Your Honor, I said. The assets speak for themselves. The complete schedule is submitted as Document 58B. My father smirked, thinking I had surrendered. Judge Emerson opened his tablet and began scrolling. Then faster. Then tapped as though it was broken. His face shifted from indifference to a pale, sickly gray. He glanced at my parents, not with pity, but with raw, sudden terror. Ms. Marston, he whispered, voice cracking, these are your personal holdings? Yes, I said, calm and steady. Acquired through the Elias Marston Trust and my own companies. The judge stood so abruptly that his chair thudded against the wall. Stop. Halt the record. Everything. My daughter has hidden funds, my father demanded. This proves nothing but deceit. Rightful heirs, the judge asked, looking at him as if he were a specter. You misunderstand. This isn't a mere list of accounts. He turned the tablet slightly. Only I could see. The first item was the deed to the law firm building where his son worked. The second, the mortgage on his Aspen estate, recently purchased through a shell company. Third, documentation of embezzlement from the Marston estate, showing they had stolen 6 million while Elias lay dying. Fourth, ownership papers for the very courtroom we were in, now part of my conglomerate. And finally, a ledger of political bribes, implicating local officials, including him, in attempts to enforce the conservatorship. I had receipts. I had recordings. I held the world in my hands. "Call security," the judge shouted. "Chief, clear this room." "No, what is she?" my mother shrieked, finally unmasked. "I'm not a thief," I said softly, turning to her. "I'm the landlord. You're all evicted." The doors burst open. Federal marshals entered. I had sent them the file an hour earlier. The judge sank into his chair, realizing he would face prison. My parents froze as the marshals approached, not for me, but for them and the complicit lawyer. "Victor and Celine Marston, you are under arrest for grand larceny, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit judicial bribery." My father attempted to flee, but was tackled to the ground. My mother screamed, a thin, desperate wail. The courtroom emptied. I was left standing amid overturned chairs and discarded briefs. Adrian Cole, handcuffed, met my gaze. His confident smile had vanished, replaced by ruin. I approached the judge. He slumped, eyes wide. "How?" he whispered. "My grandfather taught me the world runs on access, not money," I said. "While you all played at power, I bought the ground beneath your feet. Check your mortgages next time." I stepped into the bright afternoon. My modest car awaited. A notification popped up. Aegis Core acquisition of Marston International complete. I felt a pang of sorrow for Elias. He would have hated the chaos, but admired the execution. I had lost my family, though I never truly had them. They wanted a bank, not a daughter. And in the end, that bank was closed. Accounts frozen. As I drove away, I saw my parents being led into a transport van. For the first time, they looked like what they were: hollow, desperate, and bankrupt. I didn't look back. I had an empire to run. For the first time, the air didn't smell of secrets. It smelled of freedom.